Okay, alright, so this is a gaming PC that I built maybe 4 or 5, I don't even remember, like 6 years ago. And I haven't used it in a couple years. I mean, I've upgraded it with an SSD, the processor is the same. We'll go over the components soon. But I want to see if we can use this PC to do any cryptocurrency mining. I know we can't as it looks today, or what it has today. But let's get in and see if it even boots, because I have not turned this on for a while. Oh, all right, so the case is just an NZXT case. Whichever one was cheap, I believe at the time. I didn't particularly pick anything fancy. It's just a case. All right, so now to the good stuff. Let's start with the processor. So the processor we have here is Q6600. If any one of you was into processors back in the day, or when this PC was built, you know, Q6600 was the bang for the buck. And if you really knew about processors, you wanted the G0 stepping, and this is the G0 stepping. So it's very overclockable, even though I have not overclocked it because we have the stock Intel cooler in there. So that's as far as the processor goes. The memory is DDR2, I believe, and I have 4 different sticks. And I don't even remember how much combined memory this is. Let me turn this off first. Graphic cards. It was one of the best ones at that time. It's the GeForce 9800 GTX. It's from the EVGA. This graphic card was one of the best when I installed it, but today it can't even run some of the basic games. As far as the media goes, we have, well, it's disconnected, but we do have a 500 gigabyte conventional hard drive, and then we have 120 gig Kingston SSD, and this is just for the OS. Of course, we're not going to need 120 gig for crypto, but we'll see if we can do any mining from this setup as is. I know thermals aren't really good. Thermal paste here is really old, so first we'll do a benchmark as is, and once we wanna change some of these components to make it somewhat modern machine, we'll change the thermal paste there. The power supply is, I remember it was a good one. I don't really remember the company, but it's, I believe, 500 or 600 watts, which should be enough for what we're doing here today. Some of the extra components you see are, you know, just flashy gaming LED, well, not LED, I think we had, what is this, cathode tubes back in the day. For just, you know, blue light gaming look. So let's boot this up and see if this thing goes. Let me turn this on. Plug that in. Oop, that did not boot, but let's give it another second. Nope. Let's try this again. There you go. Alright, so this thing posted, which is good. Let's see if we can jump into BIOS and see if we see something. I missed that step. I should have pressed delete. Okay, it should boot pretty fast. It does have Windows 10 and an SSD. As it stands today, I think Windows 10 on this isn't really stable because of the Nvidia drivers. It's just so old. Okay, let's look at the system spec. As I said, we have the stock clocked CPU. You can see in this corner, it's the Intel Core 2 Quad Q6600. Previously, I did have it overclocked, but I brought it to stock because it wasn't really stable. For memory, actually, it has more memory than I thought it did. We have 7 gigs of RAM, which would be more than enough. It should be more than enough for us for what we're doing with this PC. That's the SSD. The other hard drive is not connected, and of course, that's just the Ethernet port reporting. So yeah, let's install a nice hash on this. Actually, let's do a few benchmarks on this to see how this performs as is, and then we'll see what we have in stock for this computer. This computer at this time isn't really stable, so, and I think it's Nvidia drivers. The 9800 GTX is just way too old for this. Plan is to actually have this, which is GTX 1080. I couldn't find the TI version in time, but plan is to have this GTX 1080 installed there and see how well Nice Hash does with this whole thing. I'll run Nice Hash on this as well, see how it runs and how much electricity it takes, because I have the watt meter connected to the whole thing as well. Okay, so let me install some software and I'll be right back. Okay, so I quickly ran Nice Hash Miner, and these are a few of the warnings that I got. No supported devices, update Windows 10, once again unsupported devices. So I'm going to dismiss this, and well, it won't let me do anything. But let's see. Okay, no luck. It says starting Nice Hash Miner. It doesn't go anywhere. It kind of is stuck here. There it says available devices. There's no available devices, which makes sense because my CPU probably isn't strong enough to mine anything, and my GPU is way too old to do anything. So I'm going to replace my GPU with something a little more powerful, the GTX 1080. Once again, I couldn't find the TI version, otherwise I would have preferred that. And let's see if they'll make this read 1. Okay, well, the Windows 10 updates are going on, because that was one of the errors we got from Nice Hash. I'm gonna go over what we're gonna do here as far as GPU goes. So this is the 9800 GTX. It's got two 6-pin connectors, I believe. And it's a pretty big card, but it fits just fine. This is what we're putting in. This is 1080 GTX. It barely fits. I think it's gonna clear this backside, which is fine. One of the things I see that's different is this one takes 8-pin connectors, and that's two 6-pin, and the power supply does not have an additional 8-pin connector. So good thing is EVGA or Nvidia did give this converter cable, so we should be okay. So let's wait for the updates to finish and we can plug this in to see what we can do here. Okay, I've updated the Windows, but I'm still getting the same error message saying you need to update the Windows, you don't have the latest version, which is fine. I'll leave that as is. Moving to the computer, since this is going to be a mining PC and not a show-off gaming PC anymore, I'm going to take off some of this stuff. I mean, these lights up there and down here collectively use about 5 to 9 watts. I'm going to go ahead and take those out. Also, there are some lights up here, down here, that I'm going to try to disconnect. It only might save me anywhere from 1 to 5 watts, but I think everything counts here. I'm going to disconnect the fan back here. It's cold enough here where this fan does not need to run in order to keep the PC cool. Once again, that might change once I put the new card in. So my next steps are going to be unhook these two connectors and use that little tab to take this card off and put the new card in. Alright. Okay, I updated the drivers. Now it sees one GPU as something Nice Hash can use. Let's benchmark this and see what we get. Quick standard. I don't know how long they take, but let's go for standard. Oh, that's going pretty fast. Alright, we'll see what it says when it gets done. Okay, the benchmark just ended. It took, I don't know, 20 minutes maybe. And here you go. This tells you the speed of, I guess, Bitcoin per day and the speed of how fast you're going. I don't know how to translate this yet, so let's see. Well, that was the benchmark on NiceHash. Let's see what this does. Yeah, 2D mark. Did I lose this again? Okay. So at this time, it's saying 556 USD per day. I know it fluctuates based on Bitcoin's price, but that's what it's saying right now. It's using about 550 watts. Yep, 550. It's fluctuating from 550 to 520 watts. And there you go. I'll run this for 24 hours and see what comes back. Okay, this is the next day. I ran the machine for 24 hours. It kept shutting off because of some power issue. I think my power supply isn't enough for the GTX 1080. But I did attach an external power supply to the 1080 to make sure it had the power it needs. I actually just went out and bought a new power supply, so I'll replace that. But let's see what we've done in just 24 hours. So in 24 hours, we've made about 525 USD. And in 24 hours, I think I had about 2.5 hours worth of outage, just because the computer crashed, it didn't pay attention, and never came back. As far as the power usage goes, I have on this meter 6.74 kilowatts for 25 hours worth of use. So if you do the math, it brings it around $1 a day. So if we can keep this $5.25 a day up based on $1 a day usage cost for electricity, we're still in the plus. We're not doing too well, but at least we are making something. As far as this machine goes, I'm going to replace the power supply. I'm going to clean and apply new thermal paste for this CPU. I'm also going to clean up some of these wires, take out some of the sexist stuff that I have, and I'm going to run it for at least 10 more days and see where this takes us. Thanks.